Hi, this is Andy Wallace with zInspector, and today I'm going to go through just a few slides to introduce you to zInspector. And we developed this software with really a different approach than other solutions that are those in the property management and real estate industry in general. Most of the other software solutions that are out there are focused on internal operations like accounting software and things of that nature. And what zInspector is really focused on is how to connect the activities that are happening at the property with those that are happening at the office. And so let's go through some of the examples of really what was the motivation behind zInspector. And there's certainly other platforms out there for doing property inspections, but we're looking really for something much more fundamental than that. So certainly we got to do legal documentation for security deposits. That's a given, both from and as well as from tenant rights point of view. Tenants have a right to document the condition of the property, as well as the condition of the property needs to be properly documented for owners. Now, it's importantly, of course, marketing photos, we got to take those, and whether we're going to be using them for Craigslist or other types of online advertising. So that's, of course, a given. What zInspector really enables is the whole other level of communication. And have you ever, been talking to one of your employees and they said, well, hey, that photo is on my phone. Or I took a photo with the digital camera, I don't know where it is. Or if you're talking to an owner and you need to convince them that you really need to install a new washer, and a photo would really just kind of tell the story. Or even worse is sometimes if you're managing hundreds of photos, and an owner says to the broker, when have you been to my property last? And if you've got a running time history of everything that is going on at the property, it's really going to alleviate a lot of those issues that come up. Because the reality is as a good property management company, you've got people going to properties all the time, whether it's for leasing activities, whether it's for repairs, and so forth. But what we need is something to connect all that information that's happening out in the field and bring it back into the office. And that's what zInspector was designed to do. And and if you can just imagine for a second, let's say you were managing single-family homes and you were meeting with a new owner, and you're going to tell them how many photos are you going to take a year of the property. And let's say the number you came up with was about 100. It seems like a pretty reasonable number. Periodic inspections, whether that's for habitability inspections, and then the more formal check-in and check-outs, maintenance inspections, marketing photos, you can easily come to where you would take 100 photos per year per property. And some of you may end up taking a lot more. So while 100 doesn't sound like a very big number, the reality is it ends up being an astronomically large number. So let's take a property management company managing about 300 properties, and it turns out about I think it's 60 to 70% of property management companies in the U.S. manage between 100 and 500 properties. So 300 is a reasonable estimate for us to consider here. So 100 photos per year, 300 properties, all of a sudden we've got 30,000 photos. That is a lot of photos to manage. And these 30,000 photos, you may only have somewhere on the order of between 6 and 8 employees. And that's kind of based on national averages in terms of how many employees per number of units. So you've got somewhere around, let's say, 6 employees, maybe 8 employees, especially if you're including part-time workers, bookkeepers, and maybe key contractors. So you've got to manage this now for this number of people. And well, so how do you coordinate here 30,000 photos between all these different people? Well, it's actually a lot worse than that. So we just said 30,000, that wasn't a year. Even if you just did the bare minimum, and California law requires property managers to save all property records for a minimum of 4 years. So from a law point of view, you've got to store 120,000 photos if you're going to be telling your owners or prospective owners that you're taking 100 photos per year. So certainly that becomes an unmanageable number. If you are taking those photos, pulling them off phone or F cameras, storing them on a server, it just becomes incredibly difficult to manage all of that. And that's where zInspector comes in. It provides a way to make all this seamless and connect all your employees so you can manage these tens or even hundreds of thousands of photos. So there's a lot of talk about cloud connectivity. There's all kinds of different options out there that are more global in nature. So things like Dropbox or Evernote, Google Drive. I'm actually a big fan of all three of those. We use them for different purposes in our company. But really, we're looking for the next level of cloud connectivity and really focus on business operations for those in investment real estate. And when you're looking at any type of cloud solution or any type of when you want to substitute technology for existing processes, you don't want to go paperless just for the sake of going paperless. That's not the goal, is to be paperless. The goal at the end of the day is to save time, save money, and improve customer experience. So we need all three of those. Any technology solution has really got to accomplish all three of those. And so we're going to be using those top level criteria and more specifically assess property inspection, and the more subtle item is communication between all your employees and key contractors. So we're looking for a system that we can collect all photos and inspection notes in a secured backup system. We want all photos available, searchable, backed up, and organized. And we want real-time updates connecting the entire office. This becomes a very monumental task when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of photos, but that's what zInspector is designed to do, is to solve these key issues while also saving time, saving money, and improving customer experience both for owners and tenants. So as you are looking for different inspection solutions out there, whether it's zInspector or others, these are some basic ground rules that we've come up with that we suggest that what you're looking for is in the solution that you select. And in one of them here, this is really needs to be the goal, is that every photo for every property taken by every employee must be accessible and backed up. And it sounds like a very simple statement. In reality, it's incredibly complex. And we are now working with some property management companies, for instance. Now with zInspector, every time employee goes to a property to do a showing or to meet a handyman or to let someone into a property or whatever it may be, they use zInspector to take a picture and to record notes. And now we've got all of this connected for all these different properties, all these different employees, all in one place. So this top level goal here is what we're looking to do. Now we need photos and notes for a variety of purposes. The reality is we're not just doing move in and move it out inspections. There's a lot more subtle things, whether we're going out to get working with contractors to collect bids, or whether we are just simply verifying repair works were done, or we're doing other inspections. There's a lot of different purposes and types of visits for going to properties, and you need a way to categorize all of those. We're also need the ability to generate reports very, very easily. We've got to have PDF reports instantly available, essentially, so we can either send them to our contractors, other employees that we're working with. We may need them for archiving purposes, or send them to owners or tenants, right? These types of reports really should be right at our fingertips and just readily available. And also, in the end, you need access to the full resolution photos. Now, this is a more subtle one, but if all of your information is in a PDF report, then the full resolution photo most of the information that's really in there has been taken out. If you ever wanted to zoom in on that photo, you wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So whatever system you have, it's got to have a method that, if necessary, you can get into the actual photo and zoom in on the key detail. This is a kind of a technical item that many of you will overlook, but it's a key one, especially when you're coming up with a particular legal situation. You need to go back and reference some old information, and that may come up to be important for you. Now, importantly is that at the end of this, we've got to have a solution with essentially no extra effort from employees or vendors. It really, whatever inspection solution you're using for your company, it's got to save your employees or your vendors their time. It's so precious, and there's so many things pulling on people that we can't impose bureaucracy or other things just for the sake of doing that. The goal here is to have a system in place that not only provides a lot of benefits, but in the end, it also saves them time. And usually when you save time, you're going to save money also, because labor is certainly a key expense. But the software solution itself should be very inexpensive. Cloud solutions are very inexpensive by nature. They're easier to deploy, and you need to work with a company who understands that pricing structure, that prices things very fairly per user. So, and that's really where zInspector comes in. And there's a couple different parts to zInspector. One of them, and this is kind of the most basic screen that will be coming up a lot, and that is called our Take Picture screen. And this is available on both Android and iPhone. And here at the top, you can select your property name. And what's key about zInspector is that your property list is synced between all your employees, just like your activities, whether you're doing move-in, move-outs, leasing, maintenance, or so forth, as well as the areas for the property. So whether it's bathrooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, etc. All this information now is in sync. So when your different employees or contractors are going out to a property, they are taking photos and recording inspection notes with the exact same frame of reference. And this is patent pending for zInspector. This down here is when you tap this, it brings up your standard smartphone camera app. This here is a button to automatically generate reports, and that will generate a report for this property address and this activity. All those photos and notes during this day will automatically have a report emailed to you. And then here in the comments, you can certainly type things, or you can use your standard iPhone or Android keyboard commands. If you push the microphone, you can actually do talk to text as well. Now, there's also a web portal that's associated with this, and this is really what connects everyone at the office. And there's two key parts of it, and that is we have what we call the portfolio, and this is where you have, for each property name here, you have different properties, you have different activities, and these are marketing, move-in, maintenance, repairs, you can have construction, bid, a whole host of different activities. And for each activities, you could have even hundreds or more of photos for each activity. Then here you can click on a property name, and you'll get the property view. And in the property view, you can scroll through over time and see all the photos associated with the property. You can also click here at the top, and this will bring up the activity view, and then from this you can generate reports, and you have complete control, so you can edit the information if you have the right permissions from the group owner's perspective. You can only select certain ones for generating reports, and there's a lot of other options, and there's a number of other videos that go through some of the other options that are available. So just a kind of a few features that are unique about zInspector, and that is it's all hosted on an Amazon virtual server. So this means that you've got daily backups, and it's highly reliable. So it's a key thing right from the beginning. It's also, and this is what I mentioned briefly, is you've got synchronized property definitions and inspection types across all employees and subcontractors. And this is really the key thing that really connects everyone together. So whether you're a leasing agent and you're taking a picture of the bathroom and let's say the toilet and showing that it's clean, or whether you're a handyman and you're taking a picture of the valve in the back of the toilet and showing that it's leaking. And now those two things, whether it's a maintenance inspection or the leasing activity, they are tied together, and that's really what's enabled by this and this patent pending approach. The zInspector solution also has full group control, so for all your different employees and other key group members, you can set administration privileges, and it's got a whole host of things associated with that. So you can have, let's say, a landscaper, if they're only going to be just taking photos because they're just out in the field, they really aren't going to be logging in at the office, but they may be taking a photo every single week, documenting the date and time, and who was there performing the landscaping service. If it's really fast and very easy, then that's a service that they can do and provide that documentation. So for that type of user, they may use a create only account. If you have a bookkeeper who really doesn't need to change or delete or anything like that in terms of all your different inspection notes, maybe they just want to log in and verify if the work was completed before they pay an invoice, then they can have read-only access. It's as we mentioned earlier, you've got to have different report options. We can automatically generate reports for photos, inspection notes. They can instantly go right to email. The group owner actually has special PDF report options, so they can generate reports automatically for every other group member. It's great for archiving. You can even set these reports to go to Evernote if you are an Evernote user. And we also provide bulk upload of properties from an Excel template with auto creation of inspection areas. And this is a key thing. So to get started, there's basically no other software out there that's going to have all these other areas defined per property. And we've developed a tool to make it very easy for you to create all these different properties. So you've got now this common reference. So just in summary, zInspector is an inspection and collaboration platform designed to link everyone in the field to everyone in the office. And while that's such a kind of a simple statement, the reality is it's very lacking in the property management industry, and that we have people out there in the field at properties all the time, but getting that information so it's accessible and usable by everyone in the office is very difficult to do until you use zInspector. You need to be able to instantly generate and distribute PDF reports to whoever you need to, and it's really got to be at a very low price. zInspector is priced at between $5 to $10 a user, and you have unlimited inspections and unlimited photo taking with that. And there are undoubtedly some of you that will need some custom work, whether you have tens of thousands of properties and you different levels of control. If you need area-wide control and other things, zInspector can perform custom solutions at a extremely competitive rate. We're not looking to really make money from our consulting services, but it's something we do to make sure that you've got the solution that you need for your business. If you have any questions at all, please email support@zinspector.com. We look forward to serving you. Thank you.